Hey guys, Brian Hill with the Complete Combatant. We'll talk a little bit about rifles and slings today and how we set it up for our own context. We're talking about the armed citizen only. We're not talking about doing CQB. We're not talking about doing law enforcement or SWAT work, just for the armed citizen and what may be right for you. My context may be greatly different than most people. There are 3 adults that live in this house, including me, and all of us are exceptionally good shooters, and all of us stay armed all the time. We have 2 large dogs, which is a pretty big warning system, and we've taken steps to make sure the house is hardened against attack, and it would slow people getting in. So we have those things going for us. Doesn't mean we can't get surprised or something horrible can't happen. And if I were to decide that the rifle is the way to go, and that may not be the right choice for me, if you spend a lot of time with a pistol, that may be a better choice for you because it's easier to maneuver and open doors. You may have better actually skill with the pistol than you do with the rifle. These require a bit of practice. Okay, you have to know your offset when you're shooting at close range. The rifle has to be set up and easy for you to use. We get in this big discussion. Some people say, you got to have a sling, and some people say you don't have to have a sling. And I remember I was sitting in a Tom Gibbons class, and he put this out there, and I don't know if he used it from somebody else, but it really got me thinking about our class. And the reason we have the marksman class for the armed citizen is because of this statement. He said, you carry a gun every day because it's portable and convenient. If you were to defend yourself in your home, the shotgun is a really good choice for that. But if you were to pick up the phone and call 911 and nobody answered, it's time to go get your rifle. And that was several years ago, and the possibility that nobody would answer when we called 911, it seemed kind of far-fetched at that time, right? But not so much anymore. For a lot of us, that could very well be what happens. Nobody's there. So if I need to use this rifle, I want it set up as easy as I can. Now, I live in Georgia, okay? So my gun is set up for Georgia, and what that means is we have trees everywhere. This is the most covered tree state you've ever seen. The longest shot in my neighborhood is 75 yards. So for me, a great choice is a red dot. Easy to use. I don't have a lot of distance. I'm not going to have to positively identify somebody a long way away because this is my house gun and defense around here, and I simply can't see very far around my house anyway. So the red dot is very easy to use. Of course, I have to have a white light on it. Okay, you can't use a handheld and a rifle together like you would with a pistol. So I have to have some way to see what's out there and identify it. Okay, and that's it. It's a very easy setup rifle. This is a BCM, the Mark II, and altogether it weighs about 6 pounds, which I really like. I like light rifles. It makes it easier to move and control. But it also has a sling on it. Okay, and what we've done with the sling is, I don't know who originally set this up, but what a great thing they came up with is you take the sling and you fold it into thirds, and then you take this Blue Force tactical sleeve sling and slide it over there, and it holds the sling close to your body. Okay, if somebody can let me know where this originally came from and you can prove it, not just your guess, that'd be great. But I'm sure some bright person who had to use this all the time came up with this idea. For me, what a great idea, because now I can have the sling accessible on my rifle at all times, so I can still use the rifle in the same position, okay, without the sling really interfering. Okay, everybody can see the bolt is locked back, there's no magazine in it, and our safety is on right here. So I'm going to move the rifle around a little bit and point it in different directions. But this sling doesn't interfere with anything. It makes it easy for me to do it. So I could simply grab the rifle and be ready to go. If at some point I decided that I needed a sling, what I do is I simply grab the sling and pull. Okay, now it's down to its full size, slip it over my head, and run the slider. So now I've got a good position with the rifle. While the sling is not a holster, it's as close as we get. And it helps us a lot to have something to hold on to it. If I had to carry it for an amount of time, or I needed to move somebody, or I need to interact with the environment, the sling is very helpful in that way. This is a flatline sling, and to be honest, he came to our class, and he sent us a couple of these. He came to our class that we hosted, and he sent us a couple of his wonderful slings. And I thought nobody can really get me away from my Blue Force tactical sling, but this one did. It's very thin, it slides very well, and it's also padded. And I just really like it the way it operates. It folds really easy, it moves really easy, and it is very thin. And that was a big selling point because the other one's pretty thick. I don't know how it'll hold up. It's still pretty new, but he takes a lot of pride in his work, and he's a good shooter. So I have no doubt that he's tested this, and we're very grateful to get a chance to try it out and to work with it. As you guys can see, the rifle's in a good place. It's pointed away from my feet. I have good control over it. and this allows me to do whatever I need to do. So I get the best of both worlds. I can use the sling or not use the sling, and the sling goes with me. You know, my precision rifle, I have a sling and then I have a sandbag also, because I may use it for different barricaded positions. But with this rifle, it's primarily about being light and quick and being able to use it and being very easy for me to pick up and being able to go. Maybe in the next video, we'll talk about how to set these up so you can pick them up quickly and go. Just remember, guys, there's always going to be a lot of argument about these things because it is relative to your context. And I'm only speaking to the armed citizen. I'm not speaking to anybody else. I think this is a decent way to go for me. It may not be for you, okay? What we don't want it to be is too slow or too quick. We want it to be functional and not unfunctional. And it should be somewhere in the middle of that where everything kind of comes together. You're always going to be making some sort of compromise. You know, if you're in the military and you use the sling a lot, or law enforcement, you're going to be very pro swing. But what if you shoot a lot of 3-gun? You know, you don't use a sling and you've gotten pretty used to moving around. People that shoot U.S. Arms or PVC and IDPA and USPSA, they're used to moving without a sling. So it may not be a bad choice for them, but we just have to think about what your training is. I would highly suggest that if you're going to use a rifle for self-defense, that you get some good training with the rifle. There's lots of good dudes out there giving training, and you know, you can come see us for our class. But get a good rifle training because it's important. Things are a little bit different. It's not as intuitive going from the pistol to the rifle with the manual of arms. Although if you're a pretty good pistol shooter, the rifle should be significantly easy. Although I find people have a lot of problem with operating safeties now because they're so used to striker fire pistols. So there is some training that needs to be done. I did a video on that using the safety all the time. Now I'm using the sling, and this allows me to carry it in a very good fashion. As you can see, I don't have a lot of kit on, so it doesn't matter. There's not a whole lot for this to be caught on, and I'm in a good position to carry it. Okay, so there's your video. I hope that helps you guys. It's up to you, sling or no sling. All right, think about it. What I've done is I've found a compromised position where I can tuck the sling out of the way. There's a couple other good ways to do it too that I've seen, and it makes it easy for me to access. And it would just simply go with me in the gun. Something changed in our life. We also, you know, we have an RV at the range now, and we spend a lot of time up there. And it's very dark up there, and there are bears up there. So, you know, not the best choice for a bear gun, but it's certainly better than a pistol. And it's something that I keep available with me. And having a big white light on it suddenly became immensely important because I'm living in complete darkness. All right. So having a rifle available was a good choice. And I like to practice with the rifle. I try practice not as much as the pistol, but quite a bit with the rifle so that I'm comfortable with it and I can move with it. All right, guys, remember, measure, refine, and perform. Measure whether the spring really helps you. All right, try to refine the performance. That sleeve made a big performance enhance for me, and then I practice it and run it, and I do it in dry practice to make sure that it's good to go, and I practice moving around with it and how the rifle does. We'll do some videos on that to help you guys out. All right, thanks for tuning in. Measure, refine, and perform. I'm Brian Hill with The Complete Combatant. We'll see you soon.